I'm so happy for the Cleveland Cavaliers in a way because I'm not a Cavs fan, but I do really like Kenny Atkinson. Wow, I said that weird. Kenny Atkinson as a coach. I've interviewed George Niang, and I think he first off is a winner. I think Jared Allen, Darius Garland, Donovan Mitchell, Evan Mobley. I just like the vibe of this team, and it's also all centered around defense and the way they just put together the offense. It's fun. Ty Jerome is insane. JT Lore looked great. Let's just talk about a team that should actually be considered real contenders. And you know what? Last year when I interviewed George Niang, you can go check that out on Hoops Hype or even watch the video over here on my channel. It's in the playlist with all the other interviews I've done. He said, I feel stupid. I asked him, I was like, oh, what's like your guys' expectation? You guys aren't like, contenders. And he kind of like chuckled or something. He's like, but like we are, like we view ourselves as contenders. He's like, the goal is to like win, basically. I'm paraphrasing right here, it's not verbatim, but he basically like he was like, but we are contenders. Like that's the goal. Like we think we are contenders, and like I think we have the talent to do that. And I was like, you know what? Like first off, that's every team that is, obviously they're trying to always win, but I think it amplifies this team is that yes, guys, this is the same team from last year on paper. Basically, everybody's the same except what Jalen Tyson, Luke Travers. Like it's the same squad. So Kenny Atkinson comes in. The Cavaliers are leading the NBA in points per game, 123.5. Their true shooting, 63.6. They're ranking first in offensive efficiency. I mean, Atkinson is emphasizing pace, spacing, and ball movement, which is unlocking the team's offensive potential. I mean, they're averaging 28.5 assists per game, which is sixth in the league. And this is Atkinson's philosophy of sharing the ball, creating open looks for the highest percentage shot. And you're seeing Donovan Mitchell shoot 40% from three. Obviously, Jerome is shooting 55% from three. That's going to come down to earth. But the part of the reason why he's coming out here and playing 17 minutes and having almost 30 points is because of this incredible offensive game plan that they have. And then defensively, they haven't, they continue to be the same team that they've been. Atkinson is continuing to be effective on that side. They're holding opponents to 111.2 points per game. Yes, they're not a top 5 defensive rating as they had been before, but they're 12th. They're top 15. And I've always said this: if you're a top 5 offense or defense paired with a top 15 offense or defense, those teams historically always make the I guess you would say the conference finals. They're usually one of the final 4 teams. And the team's defense obviously stems from good wing defenders all around, but you got the 2 twin towers protecting the rim with Evan Mobley almost having 2 blocks a game, and then obviously Jared Allen out here having his best offensive season, 70% efficiency, and also being a rebounding menace, which I've always said, rebounding the ball offensively and defensively, physically wears down your opponent because you're imposing your physical will on them, which demoralizes them, and eventually you guys build this confidence that, oh, these guys can get pushed around, we're bigger than them, this and that. And it at the end of the day, the more physical team, and this is legal physical, this is not being like bad boy Pistons or Draymond Green. No, this is like, just damn, we can't get a rebound. Oh, if we miss a shot, we're screwed. Like we're not going to be able to get the ball back. So like it becomes a whole mental gymnastics that rebounding and out, being more physical than your opponent causes. And this is going to carry over to the playoffs, which is important. And Kenny Atkinson coming from, after having his stint with the Nets, going to the Warriors, and, having this knowledge, he knows this. And if they're able to maintain this dominance, despite, some, injuries could, obviously beset the roster construction, but Ty Jerome also complemented by George Niang, who's scoring and rebounding, having 8 points, almost 9 points a game, almost 4 rebounds, and shooting, the ball real well. So is Sam Merrill, who's shooting 38%. And the thing is this allows them to withstand the versatility when you put in a guy like Asseo, who, could stop the ball. Also, Karis LeVert's playing fantastic. This team's 11th in offensive rebounds ranking, and they're generating second chance rebounds, almost 9 offensive rebounds per game. They're 8th in the league in turnovers. For a team that has, almost 28.5 assists a game, they're only averaging 13 turnovers, so that's less than half their assists or turnovers. So they're first in net rating, plus 12.3. So this is just a team that's going off all phases of the ball. Then you have yourself Donovan Mitchell. Donovan Mitchell started the year a little quiet for Donovan Mitchell's style, but Donovan Mitchell now, I don't know why I keep saying I'm breaking his name, 24 points, almost 60% true shooting. And the crazy part is Evan Mobley looks like the guy that we thought he was going to be. 18 points a game, almost 9 rebounds about, and 56% from the field while he's shooting threes and hitting them. Yep. And then Darius Garland, a man with a vengeance, trying to tell people, you guys disrespected me last year. I had some stuff going on in my life and I broke my jaw. And the thing is the injury report has had Darius Garland, Karis LeVert, Dean Wade miss games. But literally, this team has had Ty Jerome and other guys just step up and play well. And I think their record speaks volumes. 16-1. They rank, top 10 and even top 5 in multiple stats. So for me, I think, especially with a guy like Ty Jerome, it's no longer like, oh, if they can do this or what they can do. It's how they can do it. And man, I've really enjoyed the Cavaliers, who I think they match up well against the Celtics. If you look at the Celtics, I know Kata and Luke Cornett, and they have bigs, but what I'm about to say is the way we saw last year the Orlando Magic beat the Celtics because they were the bigger team in the regular season. Obviously, playoffs is different, but still, the Celtics, and obviously Kristaps Porzingis is still working his way back, so we don't know fully think, but the whole idea is that the Cavs match up first off with Jared Allen and Evan Mobley with their bigs, but I know the fear of Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland being a small backcourt going against Derek White, Jaylen Brown, and Drew Holiday being very imposing perimeter defenders, and that's obviously room for concern. And you could argue, okay, take one off the floor and then you put out George Niang and Karis LeVert or Max Strus or whatever as a way to counterbalance that. And then whenever Donovan needs to sit, you put Garland out there just to make this work, just to stagger them. As I think that's something that could work. But the idea that you go out there and you have all these shooters, all these guys who can come out there. And I also know some people are going to be like, well, what about when either Mobley or Allen sits? Usually then they go, they put in a George Niang, they put in a Luke Travers, and I know Travers is on two-way, and so is JT Thor. But when they get healthy, they're going to be able to, do what they have been doing. I think that's just going to show that this isn't a fluke like some people have kind of made it tried to seem like. And I think this team has gotten off to hot starts in the past. I mean, they've been top teams and then they kind of cool off in the middle of the year since Donovan Mitchell has arrived. And this year's different because of how dominant it's been. And to think that, again, going back to the whole thing, let's say if they do need to go bigger, they can go, as I said, put either probably Garland as the guy who would come off the bench, or you'd start them both and then you would put in Okoro and Karis LeVert, or Okoro, Karis LeVert. You would literally be the guys that you would play next. You would put one guard and then you would run a combination of Niang, Dean Wade, Karis LeVert, Isaac Okoro next to Evan Mobley and Jared Allen. And that's how you would play against a team against the Boston Celtics to make up for that. And I think they have enough offensive shooting power to keep up with them. And I think their defense is good enough to go against them. Plus they have the size to do it. So that's just my whole thing.